Thank you, Menominee Drum Team. Hi, I'm Heather Heil with the Children's Museum of Green Bay. And the Children's Museum of Green Bay is deeply honored this morning by the gift from the Menominee community of this beautiful white pine tree that you see behind me here. It will stand and grow here as a symbol of community and familiar relationships, as a living contract of respect and responsibilities between us as a children's museum and the indigenous communities with the mission with whom we work. I'd now like to introduce Scott Lyons with the Wisconsin DNR to talk about the importance of Arbor Day.
Thank you, Heather. So the history of Arbor Day began in Nebraska in 1872 when a special day was set aside for planting trees. J. Sterling Morton moved to Nebraska and missed the greenery that he had in Detroit. Morton spread the word about the importance of the trees throughout the organizations he leads in a journal that he wrote. After success of the first Arbor Day in 1872, it became a legal holiday and was placed on Morton's birthday, April 22nd. Today, on April 22nd, people celebrate the beauty of trees and all the resources the trees provide to us. All around the world, people continue to celebrate and promote the environmental stewardship. This historic holiday has been celebrated in Wisconsin since 1883. Arbor Day is a celebration in all 50 states of the United States and many in other countries, although it may be varied by date depending on the best time for trading a tree. The celebration may also go by a different name. In Japan, it's called Greenery Week. Israel, New Year's Day of Trees. Korea, Trees Loving Week. Iceland, National Festival of Tree Planting, and many more. Whatever the special time of the year is called, people share the news of the trees and why they're important to everyone, no matter where we all live. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Michael Skenadore up from the Menominee Tribal Enterprises, President.
Good morning, everyone. I'll try and do this. Just want to give a shout out to our young Menominee Indian High School singers, Scud Nation. That's their name. So great job, guys. Really appreciate the beautiful song. And what a great way to get our little gathering started. So my name is Mike Skenadore. I'm the president of Menominee Tribal Enterprises. We are a forest management and sawmill operation on the Menominee Indian Reservation. The Menominee people have been on these lands for 10,000 years, and we've been managing forests for that whole time. It wasn't always as fancy and as scientific as it is now, but our people managed our lands to create areas where we could harvest berries, or we could encourage the growth of wildlife, and to create pathways to maneuver through these lands that we find ourselves on. And I think that's very important. That wasn't random. It wasn't, oh, you're so lucky to be able to do that. It really was, people looking at their environment and trying to manage that environment to the best advantage of not only the trees in the forest, but also the people that needed to use that resource. We continue that into today. We're also very fortunate to have some of our young folks here. So we've got our high school singers, we've got our Milwaukee School of Engineering students, and they are contributing to that story of forest management. And they will talk about, I think, a little bit about what they're doing. So I don't want to steal their thunder, but really moving into that 21st century and doing things with technology that we never envisioned generations and generations ago. So I'm proud to be here as a forest manager and proud to be sharing with a place where young children are going to come and learn about forest management. It's such a critical piece of where we are in the world right now today, and it's just really great to be here and share with everyone. So I'll say that much, and thank you very much.
I'm Nels Huse from Menominee Tribal Enterprises. I do the marketing for the corporation. And I'm just going to stand up here for just a second to talk about these young people here. Raise your hands, and one more if they couldn't make it today. And their coordinator, Bridget, raise your hand. MSOE students, back in September, they said to me, Mr. Huse, what can we do to help? And I said, well, you guys can do a lot of stuff that I can't do, and that's running computers is one of them. They said, let's make a forestry game. How do we manage a forest? So I said, in order to learn about it, you got to come up and learn. So they did. They left Milwaukee, came up and learned for the whole day, spent some time with our forest managers, went out in the woods, crawled through the mill and learned about cutting of the trees and all that stuff, and developed a forest game that was put out yesterday for today worldwide. Forest Stewardship Council is going to use this game with indigenous people, and not only that, but any foresters around the world, school kids, they want to learn about forestry, and they can play the game and they can learn a lot about it. From 8 years old to 18, it really doesn't make any difference. This will work. This game works. And I, from my heart, you guys started this back in September. Guys, September, all on their own. And we finished it on Wednesday, and we sent it out to the world Thursday morning. That's such a cool thing. Give them a big round of applause. Woo! Woo! I did get some comments from people around the world, and one was became a dear friend of mine when he came up and said, we got to see your forest. And he came up and looked at our forest for a week with a team from all over the world. Fred Pierce, who wrote the book A Trillion Trees. Very famous book, and a lot of stuff that people are using now about, they talk about trillion trees and all that stuff, and this is what we're going to do, and we got to plant, we got to do all these things. Fred wrote the book, and he said, you guys wrote the story. There's no place on earth like the Menominees. No place. In his email, he said to me, I don't know where he got these kids from. This is awesome. We can use this around the world. Let them know that we are blessed to have them. So got some students from MSOE. Why don't you come up and talk about what we did real quick, and just kind of let everybody know who you are and how we accomplished it.
Hi, I'm Sydney Madden. I'm joined by Sam McPeak and Kyle Leverance, and for the past 8 months we've been with the MSOE Honors Program working with Nels from MTE to design a game about forest sustainability to teach the youth on a lot of the impact of what they can do with these forest practices. And a lot of our inspiration was from seeing it actually, like Nels said, in their own forest. So I want to let Sam talk a little bit more in detail about that.
So we had the wonderful opportunity to see Nels's forest, and just to be able to, we got to just figure out how their practices work, figure out how they manage it, and we were able to use those experiences to put into our game to teach others, so that we're not the only ones who get to learn this. And Kyle will talk a little bit about the game.
All right, hey guys, I'm the coder for the game. These guys did the art mostly, but I did the coding, and it was my first time doing it, so if there's any issues with the game, please let us know. But if you want to play the game, you can find these pamphlets inside and scan the QR code. You can download it on your computer, and then it's a zip file, so you'll have to extract it, and then you can run the file inside. As Sam said, it encapsulates most of the Menominee tribe's ways of managing a forest, but not all of them, so we're planning on making it bigger and better. So, thank you.
Thank you guys, and thank you for telling me it was my forest. I appreciate that. Michael, if you come up here, and Scott Lyons from the Wisconsin DNR Forestry, he's got a presentation to the students. And Bridget, would you come up too, because she was their leader, coordinator, so to speak, keeping everything on track. If you'd stand up here with the kids. And Scott, I want to talk about on behalf of the DNR and what you're going to hand out.
Once again, I'm Scott Lyon with the Wisconsin DNR, and I'm here to just hand out a maple pen from the Urban Forestry Program on just thanking the students here for helping with this game and looking forward to working with them in the future on more projects. So thank you for having me here.
Give him another round of applause. What we're going to do next is get involved in the Peace Tree Project, and I've got a good friend of mine here. He's going to come up. We did a lot of peace trees. In 2021, I asked a group of honor students from Milwaukee School of Engineering, I said, what do you want to do during COVID? This is a mess. And we had all kinds of problems, and the cities were going crazy, people out of control and that kind of stuff. And two of the students came up to me and said, Mr. Huse, let's tell the peace tree story. Well, I wasn't quite sure what it even was. I heard about it. So we looked it up and we talked about it, and we said, this is what we got to do. We got to go plant trees around the state and all these places that were having trouble. We were in Milwaukee. We were in the center of it. We were in Kenosha, right in the middle of it. We were in Chicago, planting a peace tree. We were in Appleton. We were all over the state at small schools planting these peace trees during COVID, because these young people said we need to step out and do something. So when we tell those stories, I have a great friend of mine who's from the Oneida Nation, James Flores, who is also an employee of the new Milwaukee Public Museum. And they're going to be coming out here real shortly and talking about their new museum that they're going to do. And he's the coordinator for all the Native American exhibits, and used James many, many times. We just did a thing at Carroll College not too long ago and got to talk to kids about Earth Day and stuff like that there. James, come up and tell us the story of the peace tree. James Flores.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm really glad to be here. We went in for the singers. We went in for coming out, MC President. I'm very glad to be here, and also as a representative of the Oneida Nation. I've worked with Nels on this peace tree events before, and I think it's really a great idea, a great concept. And I just really want to introduce myself in my language right away, so please just bear with me. Siguli swagrik, Onondaga ni waganyata ni wagi deloda yoda halak wadase ni you gets. What I said was, greetings everybody. I come from the Oneida Nation, and our language is pronounced Onondaga, and it translates to people, the standing stone on Turtle Clan. And my Oneida name is Yoda Halak Wadase. I also go by James Flores, and I'm very glad to be here. And I'm here to share in a very important aspect of our Haudenosaunee history, Haudenosaunee people of the Longhouse, and the story of this peace tree and what it means to us in our history. The Haudenosaunee is comprised of a unification of 5 nations, the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk, and later the Tuscarora would join this unification. And this history that I'm going to be sharing with you all is a history before this unification came into existence. So this story is about a great warrior, Hiawatha, and a prophet known as the Peacemaker, and the Tree of Peace. So a long time ago, these 5 nations were warring with each other, and they were in this continuous blood feud, and it looked like it was never going to end. And there was, again, this blood feud was among the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk. And these nations were at war with each other. People were scared to leave their villages, and they didn't know what was going to happen. And there was this great warrior named Hiawatha, who was caught in this war. And one time during this war, he lost his family. His family was killed, and he was inconsolable. And he left his village and he walked out to this body of water. And when he got to this water, he saw an individual on a canoe made out of white stone. And he never saw anything like this. So when that individual that came up to the shores, he was this prophet known as the Peacemaker, and he shared with Hiawatha his message of peace. And Hiawatha was touched by this message, and the Peacemaker said, I have to carry this message to all these nations so they'll stop fighting, so there'll be peace. And Hiawatha said, I'll help you do this. And he agreed to help the Peacemaker on this. So they met with all the chiefs from the different nations, the Seneca, Cayuga, Oneida, and Mohawk, and they all agreed. They all agreed to end this bloodshed and join this peace. All except one. One nation refused to join this peace, and it was the Onondaga. And when Hiawatha and the Peacemaker met with the Onondaga chief, Taladaho, he was this warlord, and he had the most warriors. And when they met, he said, why would I want to join this peace? I like living like this. I'm content living like this. I have no reason to join your peace. And he wouldn't listen to the Peacemaker's message of peace. And he said, if I can convince you to join our peace, the chiefs of all these nations, the chief of all these nations, he will carry the title of Taladaho, and your name will continue on. If you join us, we'll do this. And Taladaho agreed, but he said, you still have yet to convince me to join your peace. And he said, well, we'll be back. We'll be back. And when we meet with you again, we'll convince you to join our peace. So after they left, the Hiawatha and the Peacemaker went in search of this woman that was known to have these healing abilities. And they sought out this woman named Jagunzase, and she was known for these healing abilities. And when they met with her, they asked her if she could help heal Taladaho, and so he could hear this message of peace. And they said, if you heal him, we'll make you our clan mother. And from now on, moving forward, the clan mothers will choose the chiefs of these nations. And she said she agreed, and she said she would help them. So they met with Taladaho again, and Taladaho, he had these supernatural abilities, and he had snakes living in his hair. And Jagunzase went up to him, and she began to heal his mind, and she began to comb off the snakes out of his hair. And finally, once Taladaho's mind was clear, he was able to hear the message of peace clearly, and he finally agreed to join this peace. And afterwards, all the representatives, the chiefs of these different nations, the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk, they met, and the Peacemaker, he recited the great law of peace, which stated that they were going to be unified and come together and end this bloodshed, and that they would help and support each other, but not tell each other what to do, but still be unified. And this became the oldest democracy on this continent. And it was during this time that he instructed that these tribal nations come together and become the Haudenosaunee, people of the Longhouse. And the great law of peace is pretty much stating that you should live in peace, power, and righteousness. And as a symbol of their agreement to live like this, the different chiefs and representatives of these nations came together, and they uprooted a white pine, and they buried their weapons of war under this white pine, and as a way to show their commitment to live this way. And this white pine, if you look at the needles that are bunched together, there's 5 needles grouped together, and that represents these 5 nations: the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk. And afterwards, after planting this tree, this tree became known as the Tree of Peace. And that's pretty much what we're doing today. We're continuing on this custom and this practice, and in the spirit of creating positivity, these events that Nels has coordinated with these different schools, and I've been very fortunate to be a part of, and I'm very glad as a representative of the Oneida Nation to be here in Green Bay at the grand opening of this Children's Museum. And I think again, once what we're doing here is planting this tree of peace to demonstrate that our commitment to positivity, to moving forward progressively together and in a good way. And I just want to say, and y'all, thank you for listening. And I just want to say I appreciate everyone's time and energy that they put into this project, this event today, and all of this to come together for our pass across today. So thank you.
Heather, if you want to start handing these out, maybe get some of the brothers to help you. Those guys, this one too. So now you heard the story. So when you have that story in your mind, you know that you want to be a part of something new. When the students of MSOE said, this is going to be something different. We got to do something new. This is a new unity to help us as a nation. Remember what was happening in 2021? Remember all the chaos that was happening? We needed a new unity. And so what we did was plant that first peace tree in Milwaukee. The next one went to Kenosha. The mayor of Kenosha called me up and he says, Nels, we need you here really bad. They're practically burning our city down. We need help. We put a peace tree there. Things have changed. We put a huge peace tree at the Field Museum in Chicago and dedicated it there with many tribes and people from all over the area. And so it seemed to be starting to work. And then we started to go to schools all over Wisconsin and Minnesota. We're going to do that today. You're being handed an arrowhead. That arrowhead, you take the point of that arrowhead and you're going to put it at the base of this white pine tree and push it into the dirt. And you're going to come back to your seat. And our team over here, they're going to do the same thing. And then they're going to play a little bit while you're all getting a chance to do that. Putting that arrowhead in the dirt. Which means the weapon of war, of all the problems, all the problems that we're having, we're bearing that and we're making a pact that we're going to make a change. That's what that means. You're going to make that change today. So let's take the arrowheads. So we'll start with our drum team back here. If you guys want to start and come up, we'll put the arrowhead under the tree. And then we'll do everybody else here also. Heather?
And then after that, I would like to invite Tony Burnett, our executive director, and Michael Skenadore to place their arrowheads.
Okay. You're going to take that arrowhead, you're going to push it right into the dirt point first. We had an interesting thing. I was up in Florence, Wisconsin with Ellen, my wife Ellen here. Ellen?
Yes,
Right here.
I'm right here.
Best thing that ever happened to me. 51 years we were married last week. How about that? So we were at this school in Florence, Wisconsin, and Carl Moran is the guy's name, and he helps run the WIAA state basketball program. And Carl said he uses it with everybody in the school. So we went up there, we had no idea. He brought 300 kids to put arrowheads underneath that tree. But they did it, and he said, we use that when we have problems, especially in high school when they're fighting and stuff like that. I said, go to the peace tree first. Remember what you said you were gonna do, and then come and see me. He said it really works. I use it all the time. If we can play the drums a little bit, and then the rest of you can come up and put your arrowhead under the tree. we have our arrowheads planted. We've made a commitment. Now we're going to seal that commitment with some dirt. And we're going to quietly walk back into the facility. Heather, what do you got for us when we're done here, and what should they look for?
You are welcome to join us for some light refreshments in our celebration room, as well as we have some things on the table. The MSOE students QR code, if you wanted to grab that, as well as a peace tree offering to take with you. Thank you so much, Scott Lyons, for donating those, and some more that we have today. You can grab one of those. Thank you to everyone involved today, and we look forward to growing with this tree. Thank you.
As we go, you're going to go to this bucket here. There's some dirt in there. Drum team, you want to get up and take a little dirt and sprinkle it over your arrowhead underneath that tree? You can do like they did. And when they start playing the traveling song, which is safe travels for you wherever you're going, wherever you're headed, to get you home. And we'll do that, and we'll just quietly walk away. And that's how we seal it. Okay, drum team, if you want to start the traveling song and seal what you did today with some soil and know that it's going to be honored.